The future isn't what it used to be.
The future we dreamt of was shiny, sleek, and impossibly optimistic. Or was it? We think of the future as forward-facing, yet our imaginations return to familiar patterns. Do these visions reveal deeper truths about who we are and what we long for? Are we really moving forward, or just circling back to ideas we never truly left behind?
The wings unfold to a span of 12 yards and presto, it's a plane. The flying car has room for 2 passengers and develops 125 horsepower. Airspeed is over 200 miles an hour.
Why do flying cars in the 1950s still look more futuristic than most cars today? The answer lies in retrofuturism, where tomorrow's dreams are always filtered through yesterday's glasses. Retrofuturism isn't just a look, it's a way of seeing the future through the past. It merges vintage aesthetics with futuristic concepts, a vision of tomorrow wrapped in nostalgia. It's a reflection of how each era sees the future, shaped by the culture and the values of the time. It's in architecture, technology, entertainment, even the way we express our hopes and anxieties. In the age of steam and iron, Victorian futurists imagined machines that fed knowledge directly into our minds, and steam-powered automatons. Their future was industrial and distinctly Victorian. The 20s and 30s saw the future differently, streamlined, efficient, and elegant. The Chrysler Building wasn't just architecture, it was a vision of tomorrow. By the 1950s, the atomic age arrived. Diners looked like spaceships, and televisions like space helmets.
Excitingly new.
It was optimistic, accessible, and distinctly American.
You find yourself living predictions of things to come.
Oftentimes, the future we imagine is the world we live in. The space age gave us Tomorrowland, a sleek, idealized vision of a prosperous tomorrow, reflecting mid-century optimism and faith in technology. The 1980s, with its financial anxieties and corporate dominance, gave rise to Blade Runner, where technology and humanity clash in a gritty, neon-lit metropolis. In times of prosperity, the future looked sleek and optimistic. During downturns, it grew dark and dystopian. But not everyone dreamed the same future. While America showcased personal luxury, flying cars, robot maids, and automated homes serving individual families, Japan's imagined futures blurred the line between human and machine. Despite being a robot, Astro Boy moved with natural grace and struggled with human emotions.
From now on, you belong to him.
Huh? Oh no, Father, you can't!
And in the Soviet Union, animations like this emphasized time efficiency and collective productivity. Their future wasn't about personal comfort, but about optimizing every minute for the good of society. Even their cartoons reinforced that tomorrow would be built through coordinated, collective effort. The futures we imagine often reveal as much about the present as they do about what lies ahead. These weren't just different artistic styles, they were different dreams of tomorrow, each reflecting their society's core values about how progress should serve their people. And these different visions still influence how each society engages with new technologies. In Japan, robots are often designed with explicit mechanical features, reflecting a cultural comfort with visible automation. In contrast, Western markets often prefer AI assistants that simulate human conversation, building on familiar social interactions.
I got you. What's on your mind?
Shit, I'm chilling. What you got going on?
His assignments are programmed into the home computer and fed into teaching machines.
Sometimes yesterday's wild dreams of tomorrow did come true, just not quite as imagined. Video calls arrived, but not in clunky briefcases. We got robot assistants, but they live in our phones rather than rolling around on wheels. And we can now receive text messages on our wrists, but thankfully not as clunky printed strips imagined in the world of James Bond. So what made some ideas succeed while others failed? Video calls succeeded because they addressed our need to see distant loved ones, regardless of the form they took. Success wasn't about correctly guessing the exact shape of technology, but understanding the human desires it would serve.
All muscle.
It's a new thing. It plays games.
All electric.
These are simulated engine sounds.
This is TinyPod.
Dedicated writing tools for the modern writer.
And this is a call.
But why does new tech so often disguise itself in familiar forms? The first cars looked like horseless carriages, Early television cabinets mimicked radio consoles. Even digital cameras today include artificial shutter sounds to bridge the familiar with the new. Research shows we trust technology more when it feels recognizable. When Motorola designed its first flip phone, it borrowed directly from Star Trek. This wasn't just imitation, it was strategic. By adopting a familiar form from science fiction, they made revolutionary technology feel accessible to consumers. In our world of increasingly non-traditional interfaces, we crave grounded, tangible experiences. Studies show tactile feedback, such as strong vibrations, can significantly boost user satisfaction. These aren't just nostalgic touches, they're deliberate choices to make advanced technology feel more satisfying and approachable. But our imaginations aren't as limitless as we think. They're wired by the past. Our acceptance of new technology follows what research calls the diffusion of innovation curve. Revolutionary ideas rarely gain immediate widespread adoption. Instead, they spread gradually through society as people become more comfortable with them.
I can't get.
Wait, clap your hand. Now above it is a much less sophisticated clock, but at least it tells you what time it is. Only adaptation of technology.
Industrial designer Raymond Loewy captured this principle in what he called M.A.Y.A, most advanced yet acceptable.
Of course, to do all this, you will have to learn to do this.
For innovations to succeed, they need to be groundbreaking yet familiar enough to feel trustworthy. It's a balance between pushing boundaries and keeping recognizable elements that make new designs feel comfortable. When this balance is off, even promising technology can fail. Over a decade after Google Glass, its failure highlights what happens when tech misses the mark. While innovative, it struggled with short battery life, poor voice controls, and a design that felt socially intrusive.
Okay, Glass. Take a picture.
It failed to resonate with consumers on a practical and emotional level, leaving many feeling unprepared for this vision of the future. The balance of acceptance also shifts across generations.
We can't overestimate the value of computers. Yes, they are great for playing games and forwarding funny emails, but real business is done on paper, okay? Write that down.
Research shows that early experiences with technology during formative years, typically ages 15 to 25, shape what sociologists call technology generations, groups defined by shared exposure to key innovations that emerged during their youth. While these often overlap with social generations, technology generations are defined by exposure to specific technologies rather than age alone. If you were one of those people who had a brick-like cell phone, you may view constant connection differently than those introduced to smartphones with social media built in. These generational differences reflect how foundational technologies can shape habits,
Come on.
attitudes,
Everybody likes new inventions, new technology. Computers are about trying to murder you in a lake.
and even the way someone approaches newer innovations throughout their life.
Erase! Erase all pictures of Ron! Erase all pictures of Ron! The world is a nightmare. Erase all pictures of Ron!
Mike, would you make me a dupe of that? I'd like to show it to some friends of ours who spend a lot of time down there.
Sure, well, I guess you want it in 3D, huh?
Yeah, we finally made the switch.
You gotta keep up with the times, you know.
Yeah, but,
But what?
well, there's 3D and 4D, you know. What's next?
What's next? You never know. You never really know.
So why do imagined futures often look like the past? It's not that we can't imagine bold new futures. Echoes of the past help us make the future feel approachable, grounding us in the familiar. The futures we envision go beyond tools or technologies.
Hello!
They're expressions of who we are, our hopes, fears, and dreams woven into stories that help us navigate uncertainty. Yesterday's visions of tomorrow weren't about predicting the future. They were ways of processing change, expressing hope, and making the unknown feel a little more familiar. To Google Glass, to Google Glass, to Google Glass, Google Glass, Google Glass.